Hey, and welcome to another edition of Wolverine Chat. I'm your host, Tim Raymond, and it is Championship Tuesday. It's been a while. I remember the 89, I remember 81, then we had a couple chances under John Beeline, but we got it done last night. 69 to 63, hail to the victors, valiant. What a game. When I say what a game, not necessarily in a offensive great game, it was just a crazy game. The game started out. Michigan started off, I think, 9-1 or something like that, 9-2. Started looking like they might be okay, but just they went back and forth, and then they got to a point in the second half where Michigan had a nice run at the end of the game or end of the half and went in leading 33-29 at half. Second half, it was right around 7 to 10 points most of the game. Michigan held on at the end. But it was just, I had never seen two teams scrap like these two teams did. Defensively, they both were on fire. Offensively, neither one could do much. Michigan had literally 2 3-point plays, 3 for 15. And at halftime, they were literally 0. This is 3 points and just outside the paint, 0 for 14. Every shot was in the paint or a free throw. I couldn't figure. It was so frustrating. I was watching the game with my brother-in-law, and we just kept expecting, Michigan can't stay this cold. And then even though they made a lot of shots in the paint, they missed a lot of bunnies, and it just was crazy. But going over the stats, field goal percentage, Michigan was 38%, 31% for Uconn. So Michigan, as good as Uconn's defense was, Michigan was just swarming every shot. Mara had his hands up. They had to throw the misdirect. It was just, I don't know how else to describe it. It was like a rugby game. I thought Michigan was playing Uconn in football. 3-point, Michigan 13%. 2 for 11? 2 3-point shots the whole game. 13%. They were, 9 for 33? I don't have all the statistics right in front of me. So if some were a little bit off, I apologize. But I know they were, I think, 27%. Free throws, Michigan was, I think, 25 for 28. Roddy Gale had those 2 missed free throws. That probably cost him the spread. And not that I would care what the spread was, but some may have cost them some money at 6.5 points. So, and then that crazy 3-pointer. So Michigan free throws, that's what saved them the game. They're 89%, rarely missed. So you take that. As far as turnovers, it was pretty evenly. Michigan had 10, a couple at the end that could have cost them possibly the game. Here's the offensive rebounds all day. UConn was just out hustling Michigan. We would get the ball, and I swear, I don't know how many jump balls there were. They were on it every time. I don't know how many clean rebounds. I wish there was a stat that, how many clean rebounds we got with and hit the outlet man, because it couldn't have been many. Every one of them was contested. They had 46 rebounds, 39 for Michigan, out-rebounded us by 7. And Michigan had an 11-point lead. They had a 3-point lead earlier in the game. But, I mean, this game was like we were getting ready to put it away. But at no point was it over. But at no point did really UConn have much of a chance other than late in the game when they had that crazy 3-point play. But then we got the free throws right back and took it from there. So it was something else. As far as leading scorers, Cadeau, who was the MVP, had 19 points. Him and Johnson, I think Johnson had most of the first 7 or 8 points in the beginning of the game. Carabin, 17 points for Uconn, and Terrace Reed, 14 points, 13 rebounds, but I mean, yeah, he did a good job, but he a lot of missed shots, and he just wasn't. He didn't really give Mara too much of a challenge down deep. I thought he would be a little bit because I think he's a little tougher or big, not tougher, but bigger than Mara. But Mara was Mara. Of course, he missed a few, but he was there. Cano had 2 assists. We had what, 7 assists. So hardly any assist in the game. Was not great, crazy, but look, they won. I mean, at halftime it was 33-29, and again we never lost that lead. So what's this mean? I don't think it means anything as far as are they not as good? No, that means they're a better team because they won in a way they had to. They could win a street fight. They could win an open run and gun like they did most of the playoffs and throughout most of the season. I give Uconn a lot of credit. Dan Hurley, a lot of people don't like him, but give credit to him. He didn't really complain. Now a lot of the fans are complaining about the refs, but they're a bully, and who can beat up a bully? Another bully, and Michigan out-bullied them. So you cannot complain about fouls at one end when that's how they played all season long. So it was fun, especially if you weren't like a Michigan fan or a Uconn fan. If you were a neutral fan, even though they didn't hit a lot of shots, it would have been a fun game to watch. Just back and forth defense, block shots. So it was a lot of fun. It was a great season. I've heard some people today just blowing my mind. They won't even say Michigan was better than the '89 team or the Fab Five. Listen, the Fab Five, I have the utmost respect. I remember 92, 93. Those were my guys. And I think nobody in college basketball, maybe other than Michael Jordan, has really affected college basketball for the better than those guys did. But, they had 2 shots. They didn't get it done. They lost to Duke and North Carolina with the infamous timeout by Weber. And so you can't put them above. Pure talent, I don't know. I mean, maybe. But, you look at the statistics, the victories, how Michigan, I don't see how there's any team. 89 team, we had some great players, but that was a 6th seed. Michigan went in 89 as a 6th seed. And beat Illinois, remember, in the semifinals on a tip-in by Jalen Rose. So, no, they not Jalen Rose. Yeah, Jalen Rose. So you can't say, how can you compare it? You can't say anything. Michigan at 89 team was a great team also. Glenn Rice was just, the guy could shoot. He's probably, I think, probably him and, he's probably the best, in my opinion, pure shooter that we've ever seen at Michigan. Trey Burke, those are the 2 best players in Michigan history, if you ask me. But then you got some, go back, Rudy Tom. Don't ever forget Ricky Green. Loy Vaught was a great NBA player. So they've had some great teams and players. Maybe not player for player would this be the best team, but you go statistics, game by game, average victory, 5 games in the NCAA tournament, they won by or scored 90 points or more. And then they won when they had to play defense. So to me, this is the best Michigan team without a doubt. There's no doubts about that. It's the best college basketball team of the century. And is it the best Big Ten team? I think so because I know Indiana, 75, they won 30-2. 76, they won, 32-0. But, there was no tournament. And I did some investigating. The average score was nothing like what Michigan has done. I'm going to do a final season wrap-up and do all the statistics as far as their average victory, but I just want to get this in fairly quick. But I don't believe Indiana is as good as Michigan was. If you look at just the way the season was, again, they went 32-0, and Michigan was 37-2 or 37-3. They lost to Duke. They lost to Purdue, and I don't know if they really even tried in that Purdue. They tried, of course. They didn't, but it wasn't. They weren't all focused in. That Wisconsin game was a game they should have won and should have been more focused. That was at home. But anyway, hail to the victors. We've got two champions in 3 years in football, now in basketball. The Big Ten has UCLA women won the tournament. Michigan's in the Frozen Four this weekend. It's a great time to be a Wolverine. It's just amazing what's going on. And then, the Big Ten, it's funny, the SEC, when you couldn't pay for players legally, wink, wink, legally SEC, Alabama, Georgia, but they were dominating, right? They won all the champions. Now, all of a sudden, it's like the dance floor is even. The playing field is exact. And what's going on? Now the Big Ten is starting to dominate. I mean, we've had three victories or three national champions in a row: Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana. Now Michigan in basketball again. Women's basketball, UCLA just wrapped it up. Michigan had a Sweet 16 team. So that's about it. I don't know what else to say. Tell me what you think. Tell me if this was the thing. I guess it's fair to say, was this the best Michigan team? But I don't think it's fair to say. There's no way. I'd like to know what your thoughts were. Are we the best Michigan team of all time? Best Big Ten? And nationally, where do we rank? I think they're going to do ESPN 30 on this. They got to. This tournament just, I think what really helped them was the Big Ten tournament, because they had a couple with Ohio State they beat in the semis, and they beat Wisconsin in the quarters, won by 4 or 5 against both those teams. Again, a game they never really in doubt of losing, but they certainly didn't have it all wrapped up. So I think that really put a fire underneath Michigan. And the cool thing I loved about the tournament, they had these big leads at half. And in the past, even against Michigan State, remember, MSU came back and then it was just too much, and Michigan went on and won by 12. They stepped on the gas throughout the whole tournament against St. Louis, against Alabama, against Tennessee, against Arizona. Every time they had a big lead, they just stepped on it. Uconn was the only team and kudos to Dan Hurley and that team. I mean, they won 2 natties in 3 years, so they're for real. And even though they were only the second seed or third seed, they're legit. And he is proud. I mean, I don't know how you can get a lot better coaching than him. But you know what, Dusty? He's got his first natty. He's been to 3 Final Four in 3 years. So he's going to, when it's all said and done, Dusty May is going to be one of the best coaches. You're going to remember him. I'll tell you what, he's going to go down as a better coach than some guy in MSU who he's Mr. March. He's Mr. Sweet 16. If you like the Sweet 16, it's cool. It's fun to go to the Sweet 16. But that's all they've been doing since, 2001. And last thing I'm going to say about this, I am so tired of hearing MSU players, or fans rather, talking about Michigan being the best team that can be bought. This is what is going on. I don't necessarily like it either, but this is the game if you're going to play. And they're jealous now, and they do the same thing. They just don't have the donors. They don't have the money. They don't have the alum that Michigan does. They just don't. And so it's obviously showing right now in sports and athletics. Michigan does. Sorry. That's just how it is. And this is how, if you don't like it, just go away, because this is how it is. And if you think Michigan's the only team, we're one of the teams that are doing it right. But we weren't even, we had the number 1 pick with Yaxel, the number 1 transfer. But everybody else, like Mara, was hardly a starter at UCLA. At North Carolina, Cadu he had ups and downs. Even in Michigan, it started not that great. Who else? Who are we talking about? Maurice Johnson Jr., where'd he come from? You know, he had a great season, but all these guys, none of them were like top guys that we just bought the top 5 players. They just really became a team. And Dusty knew the type of players that they needed. He got a lot of the big guys. Yaxel, now he was the #1 transfer point. He got him from going to the NBA. And I'll tell you what, the college basketball is going back to bigs again, and that's because of Dusty May. For a while, remember how you could have a 6'7" center. Now we had a 7'3" center, 7'4" center. Because they said 7'2", and I looked at him and it's like, no, he's not. Terrace Reed, he's got a couple inches of Terrace Reed, and a 6'10" and 6'9" forward and a power forward. So, and we got some nice recruits coming next year. A couple 5-stars. We've got a lot of the guys on the team that are coming back. None of the real starters other than Cadeau, but they're going to be a good team next year. I don't know if they'll be this good. They could be, because they really could be. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to back. So listen, this is all it's going to be for now. Give me about a week, and I'm going to have a really breakdown on this whole season, and more, statistics on average victory. I'm going to compare it to Indiana. I'm going to do a lot of research, and we'll really look at if this is the best Big Ten team of all time, the best Michigan team, and where it ranks as far as the best team of all time. Maybe it is. I don't think it's far-fetched to say this was the best college football or basketball team ever. It's just not at all. So go Blue. Now get ready for football season. Let's win another natty. Go Blue. Let's do the Frozen Four. They play Denver Saturday. That's a tough game. I think Michigan, talent-wise, player for player, is better than Denver. But Denver just gets on that ice and they fly to the net. They're a tough team. I mean, they got all the guys just flying in there. It's going to be a tough game, but I think they definitely can win. So that's going to be it. Thanks, guys. Please, if you stay to the end, I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe. It means so much to me. Trying to build this channel, as I always say. We're getting a few, we're over 100 subscribers, 104. Let's just get this thing going. I have a lot of things I can give away once we get a few more subscribers. In fact, I got this thing I'm willing to give. It's an autograph, Bo Schembechler. 1953 Michigan, Ohio State. How would you like that? I've got autographs. I get on the field a lot in the locker room, and I've got a lot of duplicates that I'd be more than happy to get rid of. A shout out to some of my listeners or viewers, and that's going to be it for now. Guys, I love you. Go out and do something great for somebody. Happy belated Easter. I hope you had a wonderful Easter with your family, and remember what Easter's about. The Lord on the 3rd day rose from the dead, and his blood was shed for our sins. Let's never forget that. So take care. Love you. Oh, just as I couldn't make it the whole thing has a drop at the very end. I'm not redoing this whole video, so you're going to see this little fall at the end. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.